Welcome everybody to the e-commerce uptick, and today we're going to talk about e-commerce, which I know a lot of you guys are here for in the first place. We will talk about how you can go about doing product development as an established brand, but using a data-driven approach. And this is so key. I've built many e-commerce businesses myself, and where I failed the most is literally when I outsourced the product development to a different company or to an employee or designer that have completely different motivations, different from what you're trying to do. And so I'm here to talk to you today about a method that you can use to talk to your customers about what products they want to see. And it's a very systematic approach which will ensure that the quality is always top-notch, but also that it has market relevancy, so that when you do actually get that product out on the road, that it will fly off the shelves right away. So in order to do that, we really need to engage in conversations with your customers, and the way you want to do that is to ask them, set up a flow, an automatic flow, where you're continuously harvesting and gathering data on what your customers actually want to see in the future. And you're probably an established brand if you listen to this, so you might be using Klaviyo or some other email software. And doing that post-purchase flow, you want to actually invite people into a little conversation where you will be asking them specifically what they thought about the product, but also the products they want to see in the future. And so, as an example, I started a brand where we did running socks, and we were probably one of the best brands in the world, given the praise we got from media and so forth. And I was extremely involved in that process the whole time, literally going to the factory, talking to the customers, running in them myself and trying and testing. I had a really good process for it, and I was even engaging with my clients and my customers about what they wanted to see next in the sock line. But after that initial product group, I was thinking, I need to continue, and I probably need to do, running shorts and jackets and so forth. And I outsourced it all to different employees, and I was sort of outside the whole conversation, and it went completely off track. So that was one of my biggest mistakes as an entrepreneur, and I really want you to not make that mistake. So as I said, you'll use Klaviyo to set up this post-purchase flow, and you really want to automate it, because otherwise you're not going to get enough information. You cannot just send out an email blast once, although that's better than nothing. But trends change over time. You also launch new products and colorways over time. So you want this continuous data. So what kind of questions do you want to set up in your automation, in your autoresponder? Well, first of all, make sure that all that information that you ask them, like the actual survey, is hosted in a way that you can easily analyze information. So that means, you might want to present some closed questions, like give them 5 or 10 options, because that way you can look at your statistics easily and analyze the information. But if you do add open-ended questions, such as like, what product would you like to see next in a product line? They'll give you 1,000 different answers. The way to deal with those kind of open-ended questions is to use some kind of AI to analyze the results, because otherwise you have to do it manually. So ask them stuff like, what colorways, flavors, or scents, or whatever variation you have would you like to see next? What competitors of ours do you like, and what exactly do you buy from them? That's super relevant, because you can easily find what might be the next relevant product in the line, right? So, if you do socks and you see they do shorts, and you can see they're getting praise and they're getting a lot of value and they're getting a lot of good reviews, then that will give you some hints on the fact that this has a lot of market fit. You will ask them a very specific question, like, what exactly do you want us to design and develop next? Obviously, you want to ask them point blank as well, to see if they can actually pinpoint that. What features of the product you bought did you find the most valuable? So again, getting a little bit more information on what they like is also super relevant when you develop new products or new variations. And also just like improve on the existing products you have in your store. Like that's extremely valuable. And product innovation is just as important as an increase in your product categories as well. Now, I think something that a lot of brands forget to ask about is, for example, a little bit more open-ended sort of questions that go away from specifically just product development, but asking them stuff like, what emerging trends or technologies are you would you like for us to explore, and maybe you're exploring it yourself, right? So, for example, if I was I'm just going to give running as an example. Runners might see that there's something going on in the biking industry in terms of, let's say, breathability or colors or new fabrics that they're using, and you might be the first brand that takes something from the biking industry into the running industry if you ask your customers like that. So what emerging trends and technologies would you like for us to explore? What other industries do you really care about related to whatever you are selling, right? So these questions can give you amazing clues where you can really be the first mover. And it's all about asking your clients and your customers about these things if you actually want the information. So you can continue with this list. I just gave you 5 examples, but you can ask more questions. But don't make it too complicated and too long, because otherwise they will not answer. A trick to get more people to actually answer these kind of things is to invite them into a club, give them some benefits, give them free shipping on the next order, whatever it might be, to make it a little bit easier for people to commit that time into answering this kind of surveys for you. I think the next part that's really important, that is where you fail most likely, is that you're not analyzing this information. Perhaps you have not set it up in a structural way, so all the answers are open-ended, and you just get a CSV file and just like blown away by the amount of work you have to do. But the first thing you really want to do here is make sure you in your CSV file have all your questions, all your answers, but you also categorize all the answers, right? And to speed this up like crazy, you can use AI to scan all the work. You can use ChatGPT for that. You'll need to use the paid version, because then it can go in and analyze CSV files. And you can ask them specific prompts, like categorize every single answer for this question, and then give them some examples of the categories that you would like to have. This means that it will actually understand and read the sentiment in every single answer, and it will categorize it for you. So you can use something like, a pivot table, or you could understand exactly what it is people want the most. And we do this all the time in our agency, basically using AI to understand stuff really fast without having to do it manually. And then we take action based on the most popular answers to every single question. So this is really important. And if you're a larger e-commerce brand, you need to have a data analyst work on this consistently, and then most importantly, give you that report specifically to the top of the company, not just product development, because product development teams will have their own agendas and not always align with what you want to do from the top. So you want someone super senior to come in here and read this information and take action. So when you launch your next colorways or your next flavors, it's actually data-driven decisions and not just what you think subjectively should be the next option. This is just so key, and you're going to see a massive, massive improvement in sales because of this, because everything has been researched, you've done your analysis, you know what features are important, and you just have everything set up so it's good to go. So that was my little speak today on product development and how to use it in a data-driven way. Set up your flow, get into Klaviyo or whatever system you're using. Make sure that within 2 to 4 weeks after they buy it, they get this post-purchase survey to talk about what they like about the current product, but also products they want you to use in the future. And then just make sure you analyze all the data, use AI or use someone on Fiverr if you don't want to use AI to literally categorize every single answer. So you can make pivot tables and make good quality decisions based on what are the actual most important and popular answers. So hopefully that was useful, guys. This was a little bit different than usual, but this is something really, really key if you want to really scale your e-commerce store.